Okay, The Shining, 1980. Stanley Kubrick, Jack Nicholson.
Hi. I've got an appointment with Mr. Ullman. My name's Jack Torrance.
His office is the first door on the left.
Thank you.
So, short story is Jack goes to a hotel as a caretaker and rather quickly goes crazy. This is the opening of the film, pretty much.
This is obviously before they get to the hotel. Is this to interview for
Yes.
the job, to get the caretaker job?
Mr. Ullman?
Yes?
I'm Jack Torrance.
Oh, well, come on in, Jack. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Ullman.
This is my secretary, Susie.
Hello.
Susie, how do you do?
Have any trouble finding us?
Oh, no problem at all. I made the trip in 3.5 hours.
Wow, that's a very good time. Hey, please sit down a minute.
So, one of the
Make
first
yourself at home.
major
Like
uses of
coffee?
Steadicam.
Well, if you're going to have some, I wouldn't mind. Thanks.
Susie?
Halloween.
Oh, and would you ask Bill Watson?
A few years before,
Yes,
but this is, really extended.
Yeah.
Mom,
Yeah?
do you really want to go and live in that hotel for the winter?
Sure I do. It'll be lots of fun.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, there's hardly anybody to play with around here.
Yeah, I know. It always takes a little time to make new friends.
Yeah.
Wish I could
I
read a
guess so.
book.
What about
Wish
Tommy?
my kid had let me read a
He's looking
book.
forward to the hotel, I bet.
It's a torch.
Now, come on, Tony. Don't be silly.
I don't want to go there, Mrs. Torrance.
Well, how come you don't want to go?
I just don't.
Well, let's just wait and see.
So, Tony's real.
We're all gonna have a
So,
real
Tony's
good
100%
time.
real.
Yep.
And because he's got
Bill, I'd like you to meet Jack
a
Torrance.
silly
How do you
voice,
do?
we don't take him seriously.
Nice to meet you. Pleasure to meet you.
Grab a chair, Bill. Join in. Jack is going to take care of the overlook for us this winter. I'd like you to take him around the place as soon as we're through.
Fine.
Jack is a school teacher.
Formerly a school teacher.
What line of work are you in now?
I'm a writer. Teaching's been more or less a way of making ends meet.
Well, this ought to be quite a change for you.
Well, I'm looking for a change.
Our people in Denver recommended Jack very highly, and for once, I agree with them. Let's see, where were we? I was, about to explain that our season here runs from May 15th to October 30th. Then we close down completely until the following May.
Do you mind if I ask why you do that? It seems to me that the skiing up here would be fantastic.
Oh, it sure would be. The problem is the enormous cost it would be to keep the road to Sidewinder open. It's a 25-mile stretch of road. It gets an average of 20 feet of snow during the winter, and there's no way to make it economically feasible to keep it clear.
This is all very
When
important
the place was
exposition.
built in 1907, there was very little interest in winter sports, and this site was chosen for its seclusion and scenic beauty.
Well, it's certainly got plenty of that.
That's right.
I mean, is it just
Did
me,
they
or does
give you any idea
Jack
in Denver
seem
about
like a
what the job
psychopath
entails?
in just about
Only in a
everything?
very general way.
Well, the problem,
Well, the winters.
the
can
film's
be
a masterwork.
fantastically
Yeah.
The basic
But
idea
he's
is
crazy
to
before
cope with
he
the
goes to
very
the hotel.
costly damage and depreciation.
I mean,
which
is he-
can occur. And this
Is that
consists
part of
mainly
it, or
running
is
the
that
boiler,
just
heating different parts of the
the-
hotel
the-
on a
the
daily
downside of
rotating
casting Jack?
basis, repairing damage
I
as
think
it occurs,
you get what you
doing
get with
repairs
him.
so the elements can't get a foothold.
Well, that sounds
I think he was
fine
on
to
coke
me.
at the time as well.
Physically, it's not a very
I mean, I
bad
don't
job.
know. I mean, is
The
it
only thing
anything
that can get a bit
he's
trying
doing,
up
or
here
is
during
it
the
just
winter is,
him and the
tremendous
way he
sense
looks?
of isolation.
So those eyebrows
Well,
and that pointy
just
smile,
happens to be
like
exactly
the
what I'm looking for.
real sharp ends
I'm
to his
outlining
mouth.
a new
No,
writing
but you can tell he's trying to
project,
keep it
and,
together.
5 months of peace is just
same,
what I
yeah.
want.
It's just what I want.
That's very good, Jack.
Like there's
Because,
something going on, like
It
inside.
feels like he's
people,
raging underneath it.
Yeah. Yes.
Solitude and isolation can of itself become a problem.
Not for me.
How about your wife and son? How do you think they'll take to it?
They'll love it.
Great. Well, before I turn you over to Bill, there's one other thing I think we should talk about. I don't want to sound melodramatic, but it's something that's been known to give a few people second thoughts about the job.
I'm intrigued.
I don't suppose they told you anything in Denver about the tragedy we had up here during the winter of 1970?
I don't believe they did.
Well,
What year is this set in?
my predecessor in
1990.
this job hired a man named Charles Grady as the winter caretaker.
Grady.
He came up here with his wife and two little girls, I think about 8 and 10, and he had a good employment record, good references, and from what I've been told, I mean, he seemed like a completely normal individual. But at some point during the winter, he must have suffered some kind of a complete mental breakdown. He ran amok and killed his family with an axe. Stacked them neatly in one of the rooms of the West Wing, and then he put both barrels of a shotgun in his mouth.
No,
Which,
it seems like he's intentionally a psychopath at the
It was
beginning.
what the old
Right.
timers used to
Because
call
surely he would have a
cabin fever.
reaction to that,
Kind of
like if he was
claustrophobic
a normal
reaction
human
which can
being.
occur when
Yes.
people are shut in together over long
He's going-
periods of time.
Well, that is quite a story.
Yeah, it is.
The words he used as well,
It's
perfect.
still hard
Stacked
for me
them
to believe
neatly.
it actually happened here. But it did.
Both barrels of a shotgun in his mouth.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
Like
you
you
can
did, it's
appreciate
the
what
most
I
non-corporate
would tell you about
language. It's really
I certainly can, and
high velocity
I
language.
also understand why your people in Denver left it for you to tell me.
Well, obviously, I mean, some people can be put off by the idea of staying alone in a place where something like that actually happened.
Well, you can rest assured, Mr. Ullman, that's not going to happen with me. And as far as my wife is concerned, I'm sure she'll be absolutely fascinated when I tell her about it. She's a confirmed ghost story and horror film addict.
I mean, just with that reaction shot, I think that seals it. That it was intentional. That he's a nutcase from the start.
Yeah, sure. Well, he's
Because-
crazy in the car. When you see it in the car scene coming, like when
Yeah.
he's definitely crazy in the car.
Yeah,
And you're sort of, I guess, the sense of dread you have is the certainty that he's definitely going to run amok.
yeah. He's definitely killing him with an axe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, especially with all the stories about how many takes Kubrick does. If he wanted a different reaction, he would have had a different reaction.
Yes.
And they deliberately chose him with a completely blank face and held it for a long time. Like that reaction shot of him, it wasn't like a cutaway to mask and edit or something. That was a deliberate held. This guy's listening to this, and this is his response to it. It's nothing.
Yeah.
He's unfazed. And then he seems almost, just kind of flippant about it afterwards. It's like, oh, well, I understand why they left you to tell me that. My wife's going to be fascinated, so...
He doesn't say, that's totally outrageous.
Wow,
So-
that's horrible. I've got a child of my own.
Yes.
What a tragedy.
I'm really disappointed that you waited this long to tell me. I
Yeah.
drove all the way out here. Like, I can't take this job.
And I mean, even if it's not a deal breaker, some sort of human kind of response to that, or even just kind of go, oh my God. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I just think this film is. I mean, what do you say about Kubrick? He. There's a few filmmakers in the very upper tier. There's like a secret. Think about it like a secret club that you can peek into, and there's a handful of them in there.
Like, you mean the Eyes Wide Shut part?
The Eyes Wide Shut party, and basically Kubrick is one of those guys. And yeah, David Lynch, a few others like that. But Kubrick is one of these guys. I don't know how else to say it. He just doesn't give a fuck. Like, he doesn't care what you think about what a movie should be, who should be in it, how it should play out. He doesn't care about the book He's going to buy your book, and he's going to make the movie he wants to make. And you just see his lighting and the way that him and his cinematographers move the camera and the performances, it all comes together to make something truly original. And obviously frustrating at times, very frustrating and weird, and sometimes very flat and strange. Like, even when you just go, he shot 1,000 takes for that. Like, that dinner, that kitchen table scene is probably God knows how much film they would have got on that. You know what I mean? And it's just that, but it's weird. Like, it adds, and it adds up to something very wonderful and strange. And I guess, I just finished by saying that, we should be grateful to have had him. I think we should wish more things like we've lived through peak TV and Sopranos and Breaking Bad and all of that, which is great, but what we're missing is these guys. We're missing these people who, because he would have been hired to make a Marvel movie. You know what I mean? Maybe he wouldn't have taken the job.
Yeah.
But there are guys like him who would have been crushed by the machine. They're either hired to make a Marvel movie or, like Fincher, sort of co-opted into making House of Cards or something, where it's great, like it's really slick and good, but it's not Seven or Fight Club.
I do love House of Cards.
It's unforgivable because of the ending. You can't.
Oh, I have not seen that.
Well, I haven't seen it either.
No.
I'm out. Like the beginning, that first season is just like.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, what I'm saying? Like, there's a way that TV and Netflix, there's a way of working. There's a way that these deals are set up, and that these projects come about, and the types of projects they pick, and the causes and conditions, and it's not conducive. And actually, you see it in the way that Netflix has used our heroes. So Netflix, the guy who runs Netflix, he's a big film fan, which is great. I'm sure we're simpatico like that, but he gets Scorsese in, says, "Oh, you can make The Irishman," and he makes The Irishman, and we go
2 thumbs down.
2 thumbs down, 2 de-aged thumbs down, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to tell you why The Irishman sucks. It sucks. And so that's a Netflix version of Goodfellas. That's what Netflix does to Goodfellas. It takes Goodfellas and churns it around and says, "Here, I've got these de-aging apps. Isn't it great? Isn't it so great right now?
Here's The Irishman.
Here's The Irishman."
Yeah.
And then you watch it and you just go, fuck. So, again, I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole of it ain't like it used to be, but there were the causes and conditions that were there for Kubrick to make all of the films that he made between those very early ones right up to Eyes Wide Shut. I'm just thankful to have been around, and maybe we should bring him. Let's watch all of his films again and get into it.
Look, maybe not all. I tried to watch Barry Lyndon for the first time recently.
How'd that go?
I find it pretty much unwatchable.
But Barry Lyndon has fans; they love it.
They love something about it that I have zero understanding or interest in. I imagine it's.
I like bustiers.
It bored the living daylights out of me. Like, I didn't finish it, but I feel like it's a similar thing to Master and Commander. So that seems to have this legion of fans who they have some sort of other interest, something about a certain time period, this like British military thing that I have zero interest in.
It's an ultimate dad film, by the way. Master and Commander.
I don't think it's even all dads, because
Boomer dad. Though.
We've talked about Hunt for Red October being the ultimate dad film, and I hated it. Well, I didn't hate it, but I didn't think much of it when I was younger, and then I rewatched it recently and went, "This is great." And I don't have any special interest in submarines or anything like that.
No.
But it kind of...
I like Soviet stuff, though.
Yeah, but there's still enough in those films to hold up even if you don't have that interest. But
Sure.
I feel like Barry Lyndon you need that other sort of specific interest, or maybe like the HBO series from a while back, Rome.
Yes.
I don't think that was quite good enough
John Milius?
on its own. Was that actually here? I'm not sure. I didn't look into it.
I think Milius might have had something to do with
Right.
it.
Well, I was all up in it because I love ancient Rome, but my wife
That's a meme.
wasn't
recently.
a fan.
That's a meme. They say, like, you know, what was it last year or the year before? There was a meme going around of like, oh, what's your man thinking about? Like, what are men thinking about? And they're thinking about ancient Rome.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, whereas there's like other films where if my wife doesn't have interest in whatever it's about, there's enough there for her to be all about it. Like she loved Heat. She doesn't particularly like cops and robbers shootouts, but she loved Heat. But Rome for her was just like, it wasn't quite good enough. But for me, it was like, I'm watching this to the end because.
But I think you've fallen into my trap because I said that Kubrick was frustrating and challenging, and that's the point. Like, you know, we don't watch Barry. If like there are plenty of films set in that period, the Barry Lyndon period, where it's just like, you know, like not that it's the same period, but like just watch Lawrence of Arabia. Like watch Lawrence of Arabia or a David Lean film like Dr. Zhivago or something. But that's why you watch Dr. Zhivago and then you watch Barry Lyndon and you go, what is this guy even doing? Like when we watch Dr. Zhivago, a big epic, you know, it's exactly what you think it would be. It's swelling and romantic and big stars, and we know how David Lean's going to shoot it and it's going to look great. Barry Lyndon, it is totally bizarre. Like he is just bizarre. On and up. It does that long pullback shot on the battlefield. Like, you know, remember that? Apparently he got his own lenses ground.
Yeah. That was the one where he had NASA came in to do special lenses because he wanted scenes lit by candlelight.
Yes. So you don't care about that. You think that's shit. That he's shit.
Well, I would hear that all the time, and I'm like, oh man, I was excited to finally find Barry Lyndon and to be able to watch it.
And to quickly say afterwards, I've always been a Barry Lyndon fan. That's what you want to do.
No, I did. Yeah, I wanted to watch it and love it and go. I was always all about it.
I think you'll find Barry Lyndon is superior work.
Well, I tell you, I saw the scenes lit by all the candles. And even just from a visual point of view, not worth it.
Okay.
I mean,
and you watched it on your big screen, and you turned the lights off, and you did it. Yeah. You did it right.
Yeah, I did it right.
You put aside 4 hours.
Yeah. Well, it didn't end up doing the whole 4, but yeah, it you know, I gave it a go, and it just I don't know. Well, clearly Kubrick didn't care what an audience would have wanted. No. He just was doing what he wanted to do.
Here's the difference, is that with Kubrick, we're talking about it and arguing about it, and I'm fired up. We would do this about all of his films, like Eyes Wide Shut, Full Metal Jacket's an annoying movie.
Full Metal Jacket I love.
Yeah, well, I would take it to you about that second half. I would take it to you about a bunch of stuff in Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
Okay? And
the fact that it was just shot in England.
Well, but that's wonderful. The fact that it's shot in England is wonderful. He doesn't care. There are shots in. We're going to have to do Eyes Wide Shut and a whole bunch of these, like do like a proper full long show, because like in Eyes Wide Shut, there are scenes in Eyes Wide Shut that he's done rear projection. You know the scenes when he's walking down the street. It's like rear projection. It was 1999. Who's even doing rear projection? Why are you doing it? Like it's just. He is and the fact that he was so mysterious and never talked about what he was making or how he was doing it or what he was interested in. It's a bit like Terrence Malick, I guess. Like he just made these movies and they, you know, whereas now I'm sure you could see any number of interviews with these Netflix people or whatever that are talking, you know, so very proud of, you know, the thing they've made or whatever. But, you know, there's a certain class of filmmaker like Kubrick who was a total enigma, and the work spoke for him. I think don't quote me on this. Someone needs to check this. I should probably check it, but I think he might have even burned stuff, like, you know,
like literally burned rolls of film.
Yeah, burned stuff like so you couldn't ever see.
Yeah.
any of the stuff he was working on or any alternatives or whatever. I think he might have done that. Maybe that's film lore, but I totally believe it.
Yeah, I believe. Well, I've heard Michelangelo did that with his sketches.
Oh, wow.
So he would have apparently he would do lots of sketches to figure out before he painted the Sistine Chapel, and then he burnt it all because he wanted everyone to think this all just came out of me. This was all just basically the first take and the first go, and I'm this much of.
But he's
that's
right.
Brilliant.
He's right.
It's right.
Like any photographer knows that it's the 1,000 photos that you don't show.
Yes.
It's the one you do. You know.
Yeah.
Because the moment you see either side of that shot, you go, oh, like when you see the famous photos and then you see of album covers or something, and then you see the ones either side, you go, oh no.
But even keeping that mystery then allows people to try and read into it things that might not necessarily be in there. So if Kubrick, by the time he did Eyes Wide Shut, was actually a Luddite and refused to do modern techno, or wanted it to be cheap or whatever, if he had some BS reason like that to do rear projection, you'd watch that scene and it would suck. But then because he kept it mysterious, and especially in a movie that's about a bit of mystery, you can start trying to read things into it. Like, what is he trying to say with this? What artistic thing is he trying to say with this? So I remember a similar thing with, was it Inland Empire that Lynch did on PD 150s?
Yes.
Horrible...
digital cameras.
Yeah, but really...
The ones we had at uni.
Not even high definition, standard definition.
Yes.
And there was scenes where he'd... so he was operating himself, and he'd obviously left the zoom on auto because it was low light, and the zoom would kind of throw to the back and then throw to the front again because it got a little bit confused. But then because it's David Lynch, and because he's this master, and because it's this sort of film where he does a lot of surrealism, I started reading into that, that almost might be like the person that is being spoken to. Maybe their concentration is readjusting or their focus, and it might be like a dreamlike thing, as opposed to, I wanted to use a cheap camera because I'm tight. And, I'm sure that wasn't Lynch's actual reason.
Guys like him can use tools, could use primitive tools and make something great because there's something else going on.
Yeah, but even if there wasn't, for some reason, even if there wasn't something else going on, keep it mysterious.
Yes.
And people might read into this, as opposed to, we really wanted to do this rear projection shot. We really wanted this street and we couldn't get it.
Yeah. And
then the VFX was going to cost too much, so we ended up doing rear projection. And you know what? I think it looks okay. And it's like, no, that would suck. But keep it mysterious, and you go, oh, why is he doing that?
I love that all this has come out of an interview scene as well. We didn't even do. Here's Johnny, you know, or the high impact stuff. But I think that's a testament to it. It's just people in rooms talking, and maybe we need more of that.